Welcome to another marvelous episode of College Football Nation, hosted by me, Lever KT, aka the Governor of College Football. And roughly over 1,200 days ago is when this entire thing started as your CFP Nation. It was just a show that I did, and it has blossomed into something beautiful. It's a platform, one of the fastest growing college football platforms in the world. And I was having a conversation with Moon. I'm like, yo, I need to find a way to get more content over on CFB Nation, as I do put a lot of content on Governor of College Football. And we was like, reboot, bring it back. So I'm happy to be here. At the very bottom, you got what's called the play clock. I got 3 minutes each segment, so I'm already eating into this segment. 10 segments, 30-minute episodes. We're keeping it short and sweet, live, 3 days a week. That's Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sunday show will be a little bit later because I've been invited to go on another show, so that's why it'll be a little bit later. So I only have a minute and 50 seconds to get on this portal tracker kick. So let's talk about the portal tracker. A lot going on. Make sure you guys follow CFB Nation on Twitter at the CFB Nation. It is the best place for all portal news. Shout out to my dog Nino. He works around the clock tirelessly to make sure he's putting out a bunch of content on Twitter. And on top of that, he's a dad. On top of that, he does have a job that does require a lot of his time. But he is constantly working, constantly scheduling things. And the way that he has our YouTube lit, especially with that community post, lit, best community post in all of college football. He does the same thing with the Twitter, so shout out to him. I think I'm down to only about a minute left, so let's talk about some of these players. Brendan Sorsby, I think, is the best in the class. I said that the moment I found out he was entering the portal. His dual threat ability is out of this world. I think he's the best quarterback available. Sam Levitt should also be up there. Dylan Raiola, I think it'll be interesting. He may be the first chip to actually fall into this entire thing, to be honest with you. DJ Lagway's also out there. It'll be interesting to see what type of following he gets while he's in there. Nick Marshall, stud wide receiver from Michigan State, is in there. Marion Miller, wide receiver. He had a really pretty decent freshman year. He's entering the portal as well. Boo Carter from Tennessee. We know about things just didn't quite work out well for Boo Carter in Tennessee this past year. Bo Perbula and Marquise Johnson from Mizzou also entered Lodo Portal class. And when you look at teams with new coaches in the SEC, Arkansas, new coach, LSU, new coach, Kentucky, new coach, these are the coaches who are going to be super active in the portal because they don't have the players yet on their team. Hopefully I was able to get that done in time. 10 seconds to spare. I'm loving it. Over on the right-hand side, I didn't go over the rundown. It's like that partner interruption, the old school type one. So, each segment we on, don't worry, the one you see highlighted is the one that we're on. Let's go ahead and move right along to our second segment, Cure Bowl recap. Shout out to the Cure Bowl. Shout out to everything they do with the Cure Bowl. It's really outstanding to see, cancer sucks, and it's amazing that we have a bowl game dedicated to, raising money and fighting this ugly thing that we call cancer. ODU wins the Cure Bowl, and I think it's outstanding for their program. Ricky Rain, shout out to him. He's done an outstanding job with this program. I believe this is their first 10-win season since 2016. That is outstanding in my opinion, and to beat a really good team in USF, we know that there's a coaching change there, and we know their coach went ahead and he's back in SEC territory. He's at Auburn, but for them to be able to win this game, force 5 total turnovers, 3 by interceptions, 2 by starting quarterback Gaston Moore, 1 by Lachlan Hewitt, who came in backup duty at quarterback, and even a punter, Chase Leon, also threw an interception in action. Just a really crazy game. And I know there's an ideology out there. Nino's been one of the main proponents that, hey, we may be a part of that era and bowl games may be going extinct if we don't do something fast with all the opt-outs. And sometimes some of these bowl games get really lopsided. And I know they scored 24-10. It wasn't that great of a game. Kind of a messy game from USF standpoint. But, for the Monarchs, a great game. Outstanding season for Ricky Rain. I'm interested to see what this program does. I know this program is going to be pretty good this season, truly, because they were able to march it to Virginia Tech. And ODU has always been a little bro to Virginia Tech. They put them on the schedule. No, they're going to put hands and feet on them. Sometimes they schedule them even during a homecoming game. And that's just the way it is. So, Quinn Heinkel, He threw for 127 yards, but he got dirty on the ground, 107 yards on the ground, and 2 scores. And like I said earlier, 10 wins by ODU. First time that they did that in almost a decade. Shout out to them. Shout out to the Cure Bowl and everything that the Cure Bowl represents. Please make sure you guys are checking out these bowl games. Not just the bowl game, not just the playoff games, but there's some really good, high quality games going on, and things are going to get real crazy and chaotic during this period that's coming up. And I don't know how to explain this to you all, but we already got big names in the portal. The portal window is much smaller. Yes, people are announcing, but the actual portal window, and you'll see a bunch of people sign on January 2nd, is January 2nd to January 16th. And it's about to go down. I'm telling you, it's about to go down. Shout out to everybody who's watching this show. Like I said, we're going to be live Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. And it's going to be a crazy window. Make sure you're subscribed to the CFP Nation. Make sure you subscribe to that. On Twitter, on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed to CFP Nation HQ over on Instagram and at the CFP Nation on TikTok, because we're going to make sure the offseason is smooth sailing. We don't just do this thing a few months out of the year. It's 365. It's going to be a crazy offseason, and we're pumping up the volume. Let's get into our next segment, the 68 Ventures recap. Shout out to my dog, Brian Brossards. He was actually at this game. I think he's one of the best respected people in this industry. And if you do have the opportunity to know him, do have the opportunity to talk to him, this guy is just wealth of knowledge. Moon can second that. He's in the comment section right now. Shout out to my dog Moon, and shout out to you for helping me with the setup for this show, setting up the segments, how it's not as much setting up as it is on Governor College Football, and we just getting straight to it, and I love that aspect for it. Truly appreciate you, brother. And Moon can second this, man. Brian Brossards was a part of our committee this year who put together the poll week in, week out. And like I said, he's a wealth of knowledge. And he was at this game. And shout out to the NCAA. If you watch me for years, like I said, I've been very critical of Charlie Baker and the NC2A. I've been very critical of them because I think there's times that they just truly getting in the way of this sport being and propelling to the next level. Now, I do understand it from an NIL perspective. I do understand it from a transfer portal perspective. They like, hey, this is what y'all wanted. Y'all want to pay for play? Here you go. You got it. Signed, sealed, delivered. It's yours. That's what you want. Hey, we going to stay out of it. But I think there were opportunities with JMU when they first moved up from the FCS ranks, and they were good enough to actually be in a bowl game. They was good enough to be in that conference championship, but because of antiquated and archaic rules, they weren't allowed to be in a bowl game. Well, they got this one right with the Delaware Blue Hens, and they actually passed a waiver, and that's outstanding. So shout out to them. You won't hear me shout out the NCAA much, but I'm glad they was able to make this right. Mobile, outstanding city in Alabama. If you haven't been there, we will be there late January, early February for the Senior Bowl. Can't wait to go back. I haven't been back since 2023. I think this year heading into 2026 is going to be a year of great change for CFP Nation. I think it's going to be a prosperous year, and I got some things in the works. I know Moon got things in the works, Nino got things in the works, D-Now got things in the works, Boomer got things in the works, and I think this is going to be an outstanding year, and I'm really excited for it. But back to this game, Blue Hens, historic transition year to finish 7-6 in your first year going up from the FCS level. They were very competitive, even in some of the losses they had. They were very competitive, beat a really good Louisiana team, 20-13. It's just outstanding. Joe Silver, outstanding game for him, 116 yards on 14 carries, highlighted by a massive 61-yard touchdown sprint in the first quarter. Nick Minucci, if you've been watching this kid all year, he's been stellar. I get worried about teams like this when you have players like this that perform at times like this. It gets a little scary because we know the portal is a nasty, nasty place, bro. It really is. And Blake Matthews had the game-sealing pass breakup to end that game. Outstanding game. Shout out to 68 Venture. Shout out to my guy Byron Brossards. I'm already out of time. Let's go ahead and move on to something called New Era Coaching. And it's just really outstanding from my perspective. New Era Coaching has changed. It has 100% changed. Back in the day, once you signed on with a new team, you were with that new team. your elbow grease. You started getting your hands dirty because it was time to work, because your first year not going to be your players. Even in some cases, your second year is not going to be a bunch of your players. But now with the transfer portal, because transfer is one of the popular thing, because you had your redshirt year essentially when you transfer. Now it's like this really weird thing going on. We got John Summerall and we got Bob Chesney, and I don't know why this is allowed. I'm not saying Tulane didn't have an outstanding year. Kudos to them. Outstanding year. They do deserve to be in the college football playoff. Same thing with JMU. Outstanding year. They do deserve to be in the college football playoff. But Bob Chesney, John Summerall, you have bigger fish to fry. I'm sorry. You have much bigger fish to fry. John Summerall, you're coaching at a university that wants success, almost instantaneous success. Billy Napier was able to recruit his butt off, but hey, the old ball coach said it's not me, that he needed to tidy up some things. I think it is imperative, and not saying that both of these gentlemen are, I know John Summerall is barely sleeping, flying back and forth to Gainesville and then back to New Orleans and preparation for this game. And I know the thought is, but John Summerall nor Bob Chesney are going to neither one of these playoff games thinking that they're going to lose. They think that with all of their heart they're going to win this game, and as they should. But to me, there's more work that needs to be done at UCLA. There's more work that needs to be done in Gainesville at Florida. We can't just sit here and pretend that there isn't work to do. Florida used to be an outstanding football program once upon a time. Some of you didn't even get to experience those years. What they were like when Danny Warfel was at quarterback. What they were like when Chris Leak was at quarterback. Then Tim Tebow came on to the scene. Derek Harvey on defense, rushing the passer. Like Percy Harvin, who could do it all at the collegiate level. Those fans deserve winning. And I think that, shout out to Ole Miss, I think they thought that they did a favor to themselves by not allowing Lane Kiffin to coach them for the playoff run. They did probably a slight disservice to themselves, but even more of a service to LSU, because now he gets to focus on his job. Where are we at? What do we have? We know BK could recruit, but how do these players look in the schemes that I'm going to run both offensively and defensively? And he's going to be able to do that. This era of coaching, I think, is different. People are probably more empathetic than they were back in the day. If, I get a new job, I get a new job. They paying me more money, deuces. I'll put in my 2 weeks, but deuces. Once I'm hired by that new job and it's time to work, I'm not going back to help my old job. I'm just talking real life. I ain't even talking about college football. We out of time. That's new era coaches. I think we have another fantastic, maybe not so fantastic issue on college football. And welcome to everybody watching right now. I'm so excited to be doing this. I don't know if you could tell. I'm telling you, it's been such a long time, man, that I've been able to do the flagship show. So withdrawals are an issue. And I have a player up here by the name of Xavier Lucas. If you don't know who that was, it was a time period when I got to text my mom to make sure everything all right. So there was a time period when he was at Wisconsin, wasn't for some reason allowed to enter the transfer portal. He withdrew from the program and enrolled at Miami hours later. That's exactly what happened. And then Jake Raxlav did the same thing. He was at BYU, broke the honor code, therefore suspended, withdrew from the program at the end of the semester, and then went to Tulane. Right? This is a problem I think we're going to face, because why? We only have just that window from January 2nd to January 16th. That is 100% the window. After that, you can't make any moves. So for a player who during spring's like, hey, this team's not utilizing me the way that I thought they were going to utilize me, a la Will Rogers and Zach Arnett, down in Starkville when that thing didn't work out. The debacle that happened there, that's why I was so surprised when they decided to hire him as their defense coordinator. I was saying a defense coordinator, I just didn't like the way Will Rogers was treated during his tenure there, right? So what happens to that player during spring camp? They say, hey, they're not using me the way I thought I was going to be utilized, right? Or, damn, I'm kind of buried on the depth chart here. I'm Danny Scudero, man. I put up numbers this year, and I'm going to, one of these bigger schools, and it's some steep competition out here, but I would like to go to another university. Well, with no late window transfer portal, how are they going to get that done? Well, the way they're going to get that done is at the end of the season. At the end of the semester, they're going to withdraw and go to another school. I'm not sure if the NCAA has addressed this yet. I don't think they have. I'm not sure if they can. My first year of college, I went to Bowie State University. Then I transferred to Salisbury University. All I needed was to send my transcripts to Salisbury, get accepted. Sayonara, Bowie, it's been real. I'm now at Salisbury. That was the way that it worked. So I'm not sure what they're going to do about this, but I believe we are truly going to have a withdrawal issue because there are going to be some players, like think about Tanner Cazzoli, who went from, I forgot what program he was at. It might have been like Miami of Ohio, transferred to Wisconsin, then he transferred to Houston. Had a pretty good year at Houston because we seen that. Like somebody transfer in the early window, then transfer in the late window. But without the late window, what are they going to do? I think we're going to see a spike in withdrawals. I'm down to 2 seconds. Let's get to this next one, and viewer discretion is advised for this next one because I'm not going to be very nice at all. Who we have on the screen right here is what Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey presents Sherrone Moore and Mel Tucker. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to say it once. I'm going to say it again. Mel Tucker was fired for sexual harassment back in September 2023 for sexual harassment. Sherrone Moore was fired from Michigan December 10th for inappropriate relationship with a staff member that he completely crashed out after the fact. Both of you all had one job as head coaches: to transcend and make your mark on the sport and make it easier for the next wave of coaches of color to be prominent in this sport. That was your job. But guess what you did now, bozos? Brennan Marion now has to work twice as hard. DeAnton Lynn has to work twice as hard. Josh Gaddis has to work twice as hard. Alex Atkins has to work twice as hard. Jerry Mack has to work twice as hard. And these are because of your actions, bro. You got to know sometimes things are set up. You got to understand that you are in the matrix of the world of college football. Of course, shorty, that's the assistant who they hire who look real nice. When you looked a little bit stressed out, gonna try to rub you on your back. You got to tell her, get your hands up off me. You got to block her, or you got to hit like Chris Rock did and had a state security. Get her up out of there, cuz. Don't fall for that. You got to be smarter than that. I don't know where you're from, Sherrone Moore. I don't know where you're from, Mel Tucker. But I was born in Southeast Washington, D.C. I was raised in Glass Manor, Maryland. We saw a lot of traps. We ain't fall for a lot of traps. It's just the way it is. I'm not stupid. You think I'm going to risk me making $6 million a year for you? I don't care if you was Halle Berry and Boomerang. You ain't worth it. You not worth it. Whoever y'all think the baddest chick is right now, get into that manyan. It's more important. It's way more important. So now you're going to make it more difficult for other coaches because when you had that opportunity to transcend the sport, to make your mark on the sport, to make it easier for other people, you decide, I don't really care about the money. It's not that important. I don't care about my family. It's not that important. You got. You stupid for that. You're 100% stupid. And all I can see when I think of these two coaches, hey, that's 100% fact. You right about Josh Gaddis. All I can see when I see you two is the same thing that Samuel L. said when his character to Jamie Foxx's character in the Django Unchained. Who that on that name? That's all I can think of when I see these two clowns, bro. That's all I can think of. And there's only one way to fix this. I am reaching out to Taylor Lewan. I'm reaching out to Will Compton, who are the leaders of the Creatine Caucasians, and is me, the self-appointed leader of the Melanated Militia. I would like to formally offer you a trade. I will trade you all, Creatine Caucasians, Sherrone Moore, Mel Tucker, and Jason Whitlock, for Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, and we'll take Paul Feinbaum. Do you accept this trade? You got 24 hours to respond, counter offer, whatever you need. But I, self-appointed leader of the Melanated Militia, I'm glad to trade Sherrone Moore, Mel Tucker, Jason Whitlock for Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, and Paul Feinbaum. 24 hours to respond. You all let me know. Sherrone Moore, Mel Tucker, congratulations. You joined the circus. I don't rock with you. It is what it is. Let's get into these playoff matchups. All right, we got Bama versus OU, and I didn't really know how to feel about this game, to be 100% honest with you. I really didn't. I know how to feel about this game at all. I'm just being 100% real. And I saw something that OU did, right, Cause yeah, Paul Feinbaum, we'll take him, dog. We'll take Paul Feinbaum. He can join the Melanated Militia. So I seen that Oklahoma no school tomorrow, no school tomorrow at all, right? Teachers don't gotta go to school. Students don't gotta school. What they mean? They gonna wake up and party all damn day, and they gonna be loud all damn night. And that right there, Storm & Norman is gonna be absolutely incredible. It's gonna be a sight to see. You're not gonna want to miss this sight. And I say, damn, it's difficult to beat a team twice in a year, but damn if Brent Venables don't have the upper hand on Ryan Grubb. Damn if Brent Venables don't have the upper hand on Kalen DeBoer. And I say Alabama didn't look great at times this year. The Oklahoma game, they didn't look great. They didn't look great in this Georgia game in the conference championship. They looked outstanding, one of the best teams in the country when they did go to Athens and they were able to win that game. So this one right here, really tough for me. It really is. I wish, I'm not sure why I'm dropping frames. Hey, they try and stop me, bro. They try and stop. Hey, Mel Tucker and Sherrone Moore, chill out, bro. Chill out. I'm just speaking the truth. You guys, they try to fry my internet, Mo. You see what's going on here? They try to fry my internet. So, yeah, for this game, I definitely got Oklahoma. I think the key is this may be the healthiest that John Mateer has been in a long time. So you think about that first game, and you say, hell, Oklahoma was able to win the game 23-21, and it was outstanding defense, and Mateer did enough. But if Mateer is healthy, and him and Ben Arbuckle are firing on all cylinders, this can get crazy. It can get real crazy out here. So I'm super excited for this matchup. I promise you I'm super excited for this matchup. It's outstanding that they made this a nighttime matchup. I wasn't sure if they were going with this matchup in Storm & Norman or they were going to go with that matchup at Cal Field for the nighttime game for Friday. So I'm super excited for this game. Can't wait for this game. Give me OU. I think the keys to victory for OU, if Jan Miller is healthy and he is playing, they will have to contain him. Rattle Ty Simpson. I think the best way you can rattle him, it don't necessarily got to be sacks, but harries, knockdowns, all of that. Make him rattle. Win the success rate game, third and longs. You want third and sevens. And offensively, like, be aggressive. Make some plays offensively. I want to see John Mateer that we've seen earlier in the season. I think those are the keys to the victory for this game. Let's go ahead and move to the next game. We got Miami. We got Texas A&M. And this college football fans, one of my favorite sayings is, we are not worthy. And after a while, you guys will be saying it with me. We are not worthy. We don't deserve this. We are not worthy. We get Cal Field for a playoff game. We get College Station for a playoff game. Are you freaking kidding me? 12 o'clock on a Saturday? Do you guys know? I'm going to tell y'all now, be prepared to turn your televisions down. That's how loud this game is going to be. Be absolutely prepared to turn your televisions down. This game is going to be insane. I was talking to Jalen earlier on our show, College Football Showdown, that we do every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and he was saying that he thinks Miami could win this game, and I started thinking about it, and I tried to take my own thoughts out of it, like, yo, Cal Field, playoff game, you know how crazy this experience is about to be, and then when I thought about what he was saying, I was like, well, you know what, Texas A&M have had some games that they started slow, and had games where they, had to, pick things up a little bit later. So I'm hoping that they have a fast start to this game. But I do know this. They're going to get a lot of pressure on Carson Beck. And I expect this crowd to be something like we never seen. I remember a game. I've been to loud games in person. I really have been to loud games in person. Best venue I've been to in person is definitely Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. I don't know. Going to be quiet after a few. It's definitely Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia Tech Stadium. When you hear Enter Sandman, it's one of those outer body experiences. It's the only way I can describe it. So give me Texas A&M to win this game. I am cautious because I want to see what the offense looks like, because we do know that Colin Klein was named the head coach in the Little Apple at Kansas State. Can Texas A&M start fast? If they don't start fast, I'm worried, because Miami's the type of team, if they get a lead, they can build a lead, and they can be successful. And you think about their losses this year, it was just bad play, and they were still close games. You think about that Louisville game, Carson Beck turned the ball over a lot. You think about the SMU game, they pretty much had it within like 2 minutes left in like regulation. SMU was able to make a couple plays and ultimately able to win the game. I think this Texas A&M defense, I think Marcel Reed is going to be excited, and I love the closeness of the Texas A&M program. You know, you'll see Marcel Reed kicking it with Casey Concepcion often. They all go over his house, kick it. Casey Concepcion is like the pseudo chef, so get Malachi Tony the ball will be very important, especially if he can make some of those plays like on a post or a 9 route. That kid is truly incredible. But let's go ahead and get to our next game. We got Tulane versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss. I think this is a game that, you know, hearing a lot of people talking about it earlier, that some people think we could be on upset alert here. I'm not one of that mindset. I do think what Tulane has been able to do this year is incredible. I do think they play with a great deal of physicality. I do believe that Jake Ratzlaff, after a horrible, abysmal performance when UTSA put hands and feet on his program, that very next week he was able to walk into Memphis and put up a lot of points and produce at a high level. They will need that type of performance here to be able to get it going early and often. I think the things that I like for Ole Miss favor one, they have an outstanding running back in Kewan Lacey. He's going to be able to pick up yards and bunches. You got Trinidad Shambliss at quarterback, who's outstanding. The fact that Pete Golden is still there is going to bode well for them. Charlie White Jr. will be calling plays for them throughout the duration of the playoffs. I expect this game to be decent. Will it be closer than the last one? Probably. We all know that playoff play is just a little bit different. The game slows down a little bit. And that's probably almost in all sports that we see the game slow down a little bit. Do Tulane has a chance? Absolutely. But I think Ole Miss is offensively, I don't think you've seen tired until you've seen the turbo offense that Ole Miss run. Some of the questions I have for Ole Miss side of the ball is how fast are they going to go offensively now that Lane Kiffin is gone? Charlie Weiss is there, so I expect Junior is there, so I expect them to still move pretty fast. But the aggressiveness of newly named head coach Pete Golden, I think, is also going to be important because you think of Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's a guy with a lot of moxie. He's not afraid. Hey, I'm with you 100%, Canes. I'm with you 100%. Ole Miss by 30. I'm with you. There's just a thought out there, you know. I got to do my due diligence and let the good people know what the thought is. So I'm interested to see how aggressive Pete Golden is, because Lane Kiffin sometimes is really aggressive. They'll call a run on the 3rd and 5. It's 4th and 2 or 3. They're going to go for it. I want to Pete Golden being a defensive-minded coach. The Ballad of Trinidad Moon. I love that. So when you have an aggressive head coach with a guy who's a defensive-minded coach, what does that look like? How does that look? Like, we see Mike Elko's a defensive-minded coach at Texas A&M. How aggressive will you be when you know, hey, I'm running this defense and we will be able to get stops? Well, if you feel that way, then feel that way and going forward on 4th downs. But I do like Ole Miss in this game, and I do like Ole Miss in this game by a lot. And I think for our final segment, a game that'll be a little bit closer will be this JMU and Oregon game. I still think it's a landslide, but in the ideology of closeness, JMU does have a really good defense. I believe they were top 5 in the country. The only issue with that is they haven't really played a lot of good teams this year. I think Washington State was Is Pete Golden going to still call plays? That's a great question. I haven't heard if he isn't. I would expect him to. I would. It wouldn't surprise me if they did get a defensive coordinator. I don't know. It's one of those things. I've seen it in situations where it works. I've seen it in situations where it doesn't work. Like, I know our dog, Zach Kitley, head coach at FAU, no matter what, he was calling plays as head coach. So I think it's a feeling. I think he will probably for the playoffs. Maybe he doesn't decide to next year, but I'm hoping he still call plays. But I'm hoping he's aggressive in his play calling. Greatest motivator in the sport at the coaching position is Dan Lanning. So I know his team is going to have a supreme focus. It'll be interesting to see how soon Evan Stewart is able to get back. I thought he was out for the year. Now I'm hearing he was cleared to practice. Don't know what that means for the Ducks. I think he should probably wait for next season, but it will give him some explosiveness that is much needed on the outside. JMU is going to play outstanding defense, but I just think this is another game. It'll be closer than Tulane and Ole Miss, but, you know, Oregon will be there. Oregon will be fine. I got Oregon by a lot. 30 minutes are up. I took too long on a few of the segments, but really fun show today. I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't forget, we're live on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, 6:30 p.m., Thursday, 6:30 p.m. This upcoming Sunday, I am doing another show at this time slot, so we'll probably be going live around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I don't know how long I'm on the show. I don't know how long their show is. So once I get my time slot and all of that, I will find a way to let everybody know. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive for the fans. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. Until next time, y'all take care. I'm so glad to be back.